Welcome to the Business Vitality Podcast. My name is Catherine Cantey. I am the host and an executive coach. I work with teams, individuals, and leaders to help create a measured leadership change. We do that using practical application, and our clients are creating 100% measured results as seen by those around them. Not necessarily what I think or what they think, but what the other people are seeing. And they are being recognized for the hard work that they're doing. If you're interested in learning more about some of the work that we're doing, you can learn more at catherinecantey.com. I would love for you to subscribe to this show, to Business Vitality. This is my way to continue to pay it forward and share business best practices. Stay tuned and listen to the interview. Thanks for being here. Traci Costa, you are the president and CEO of Athena International. Your company can be found on athenainternational.org. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me today, Catherine. It's an honor to be with you.
It's always an honor to be with you too. We met a few months ago and have just kind of built a relationship, stayed in touch. I have a great admiration for the work that you're doing and looking forward to dig into that. But before we get into it, do you mind just kind of talking and sharing with our listeners, what is Athena International?
Athena International, we're a catalyst for developing diverse, transformative leaders worldwide through our leadership programs and awards that ignite, inspire, and celebrate girls, women, and allies. And for over 40 years, at the heart of everything that we do are the Athena leadership principles, the 8 principles of enlightened leadership: live authentically, learn constantly, build relationships, foster collaboration, act courageously, advocate fiercely, give back, and celebrate. And it's based upon the ways in which women, through research that we did a long time ago, our founder was told that women are not leaders. And so she set out to prove them wrong. And by honoring them for their leadership achievements and accomplishments, and then years later, after giving out many hundreds of awards globally to local leaders that were in the trenches doing the good work to bring a balance in leadership voices worldwide. And they found that these are the ways in which women lead through research funded by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, and that it's a more inclusive, collaborative style of leadership away from the old command and control style.
Yeah, I'm seeing that shift with my coaching clients, that to create influence within organizations, they do have to collaborate with more people. The command and control that I know I'm familiar with because I was brought up that way and corporate was always that way. I've just seen it for 20 years and it worked there, but I could begin to see like that edge, and they were wondering why it wasn't working anymore, why that command and control was not working anymore. And so it's interesting to be in it, and then it's interesting that you've got the research that backs it up, and that I think it's consistent with a lot of other research that's showing out there.
Well, and two, it's not the way, it's not just the way that women lead, it's the way that great leaders lead, is that more inclusive, collaborative style leadership. And what we're really known for right now and is not just the awards and all of the incredible individuals that Athena International, I think it's nearly 8,000 award recipients globally that we have awarded in the last 41 years. But more recently, leaning into these principles with our Athena leadership training. We have leadership training now for middle school, high school, higher ed, women and men. And we also, our youth are struggling, men are struggling. So many of us, I think the pandemic we're on PTSD, and we have, instead of going together more, we have actually gone apart. And the opportunity for us to come together with like-minded individuals and learn and do a deep dive into these 8 principles has been life-changing for our participants. I had a 5th grader that had gone through an earlier version of our training that said, I gained a greater sense of self. And I had parents emailing me and calling me and saying, my daughter's showing up differently. She's looking people in the eye. She is talking about authenticity and worthiness. She has more confidence. She's taking on leadership opportunities that she would have never even considered before. We've had senior leaders. I had a senior leader from IBM share with me after going through our leadership training with our partnership with the WIT Network, Women in Tech. And she said, I've been through every leadership training known to man. This not only transformed my leadership, but my life, because it's a deep dive into who you are and these 8 principles. And we also partner with the MindWire group out of Scottsdale, which allows us the opportunity to bring predictive index to our leadership trainings. And that combined with our leadership training and our more empathy-based, compassionate, inclusive, collaborative style of leadership is really helping women from around the globe. We've had women from over 20 different countries in our leadership training. It's really been life-changing for them.
Yeah, the touch that you're having, the impact that you're having on these leaders around the globe is extremely impressive. You've invited me to be a guest speaker at some of your events, and literally we dial into Zoom and you've got people all over the globe dialed in. You have incredible facilitators that have been formally trained with these 8 principles, and the conversation is great. And it's a very, I feel when I'm in that group and I'm just visiting for, 20, 30 minutes or whatever you need me to do, it goes by super fast, and it just feels so cohesive and supportive and collaborative, and everybody's in here together, and it's all about just kind of paying it forward. Like, how do we help each other be able to navigate whatever leadership opportunity we're in? And so we've talked about building relationships. We've talked about the collaboration piece, just being able to communicate with others. I mean, for me, I've been a guest, and it was a fantastic experience the multiple times that I've been out there. And they show up with questions, and they ask the questions, and they have a great dialogue. So the structure of what you're doing is fantastic. How long is the length of the program?
It's 10 sessions, and it can be delivered in a multitude of ways. We do it every week, but it could be once a month, and it can be in person. It could be a hybrid. It could be virtual, but we do ours virtual. And it's 2-hour sessions. They also have a digital fillable workbook / journal that is theirs to continue using, and allows them to set goals and look at the things of where they might be in alignment with their current position and or misaligned, and with their passion and their purpose. And really, if they're confused about that, really getting into the figuring out their North Star and who they are and what they want to accomplish in this life. And it's really been inspiring for me to pop in and visit these. And I can't thank you enough for being our guest speaker this fall in several of our cohorts. It's the impact that you have had is having a ripple effect, and really tremendous, Catherine. And thank you.
I appreciate it. Hopefully it's helpful. I know I find myself sharing stories because you're in just a small group and I'm sharing stories. I'm like, I haven't told anybody that story. But I mean, they're kind of helping me work through whatever, because they'll ask me questions. And so I can talk with them and just kind of share, well, this is what happened and this is how I navigated. And, for me, I think if a business is going to grow, we have to invest in the leaders, because if the leaders aren't growing as fast as the business, the business is going to suffer. The leaders are going to suffer. We're going to have higher turnover. There's so many articles out right now about just we've got to be able to retain people. And I think through the leadership development, it's there. And we're not born with this knowledge. And to have a 10-week program to get people focused and talking about these topics and creating awareness is really vital, I think, in business. But even if we back it up, you've got programs for kids in 5th grade, and these kids, God bless them, I got one myself, they struggle to look at people in the eyes. They struggle to have conversations. They struggle to connect with people because they look at their devices all the time. And I don't think that we always have to recreate. We don't have to start from scratch. We can repurpose and reuse information. And so you've got this incredible information for these young learners that their brains are just like sponges and want to learn. And to be able, we don't have to recreate some new program for my local elementary school or my local high school students. We can partner with Athena International. And the certification process, I think, is relatively, easy. You've got to show up, you got to do the work, but it's not like going back to get your MBA. If you're a strong leader, this stuff's going to make sense. And if you've got that tendency, I think you can implement this program anywhere. Absolutely. Do you mind talking about the children's piece? Because I hear other programs that are out there, but I know that this program is being used a little bit closer to home here. And I'm kind of excited to see how the results are. And then a lot of businesses find ways, how do they reinvest back into the young leaders in their community? And they can partner with you to be able to offer this stuff. So talk about that younger piece, because that's really where we're teaching them the core fundamentals of leadership at a young age.
Yeah, for sure. And really, but it's also getting them in touch with who they are at their core authentically, and understanding what's my core values. How do I deal with conflict resolution, and how do I network? How do I get a mentor? What does that look like? And it's really getting them. We took our adult leadership training and we scaled it to each of the areas, to each of the age demographics, to help build a pipeline, right? Because you touched on it. I think it's only 5% of companies and organizations do leadership training at all levels. And we're going to have a leadership gap. It's already showing up. And it's giving them the foundation for when life challenges come upon them. They know who they are. Because if we don't know who we are and we're not in touch with ourselves and we haven't done the internal work in our own world, it really impacts our effectiveness on the external world, or the impact of the external world on us. It's really getting in tune with who they are and setting, and it's getting them workforce ready. It's talking about the things that they're going to need, the people skills, the emotional IQ, those people skills are so critical that many companies are saying, I can teach them the technical stuff. You teach them the people skills, please. and so we incorporate that and really give them an opportunity to build their roadmap to success, and setting SMART goals, and where do they want to be, a month from now, a year from now, and come back and celebrate the wins that they have had, big and little, and also the challenges that they've had, and being okay with failure, fail forward, right? It's the only way that we really learn, I think, is through failure, and facing those fears and having the courage to do so, and really learning the things. I continue to learn every single day something new, and getting in touch with who I am, and trying to get myself closer to embodying and how I can embody these principles even more. And it's a constant challenge.
I like fail forward, fail fast. I've heard a lot of that over the years from great leaders that I've been able to work with, and it's really important. And really, if we learn from it, it's just an opportunity to get a little bit better. It's not really a failure.
No, it's not. It's success when because you learn and you get wiser, and you continue to get those. But we really look at the participants don't want it to end. when the sessions come to an end. They are like, wow, and they can't believe that it ended so quickly.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Tell me, I'm curious. I've talked with other women. I've coached with women in leadership, and sometimes there's opportunities to gain more confidence, kind of heading into these bigger meetings that they're going to. And everybody's got a different trick that they have to be able to have that confidence. And as we grow female leaders in organizations, we've got a lot of women in the workforce, but they're not really at the top level. And at some point, the executive level, you got to have a little confidence to walk in there and wing it. Sometimes there's a little bit of winging, I'm sure. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts around confidence and the women leaders that you're seeing that are doing it well?
Wow, that's a really great question. And I think that as I have interviewed many of our past Athena Award recipients across the globe, many still struggle with that work, that's their self-esteem, their self-confidence. I think the term that is used a lot is feel like imposter syndrome. And I encourage them to shift that, because syndrome makes it an illness. We don't have a disease. We aren't broken. We don't need to be fixed. It's a phenomenon. And really, for me, and the conversations that I've had, is silencing that inner critic. And for me, it was actually naming that inner critic and actually having a out loud conversation with her, and saying, when she's over here chattering, saying, pipe down. You don't have any space here anymore. This no longer serves me. This pattern of belief, or self-limiting belief or behavior, is not serving me. And so goodbye. And just, when she pipes up, I tell her, I get a little forceful with her and tell her to be quiet. And I was actually talking with my daughter one day, and she's like, Mom, if you have an inner critic, you need an inner advocate too, especially since that's one of our principles, right? And so my fierce inner advocate is over here on this side, telling the inner critic no more. You have no space in my head anymore. I know that before you go in, Amy Cuddy is a really good one to watch, and her TED Talk, and doing the Wonder Woman pose, or anything of that nature, and holding it for 2 minutes. It really they've shown that it increases, the positive hormones. And I think that giving voice and talking back to that inner critic, because we spend most of the time with ourselves. And what kind of things are we saying to ourselves? Are they things that you would say to a friend or to a colleague? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. And so if you aren't willing to say it to them, or you aren't willing to say it to the 5-year-old version of yourself, you shouldn't be saying it now, because that only just increases that focus on the triggers instead of the glimmers. The triggers are the things that make us feel unsafe, that we fear. Call it out, face them, and focus on the glimmers, because we're gonna attract more of what we think about. And the glimmers are the things that bring us happiness and joy, and feel safe.
Okay, you gave us lots of nuggets in there. So there's a lot of takeaways, probably a lot of just, one-line quotes that could be posted everywhere based off of that answer. So it was fantastic. I love it. So, I got you. I know as CEOs and as leaders, you've got to be able to kind of put your point of view out there and be persuasive about it. What are your thoughts around that? What works? What doesn't work? What are your thoughts?
That's one that is still an ongoing challenge that I have. And I've recently, through all my conversations, it's continuing to evolve, and I call it the 7 C's to conflict resolution. and I like ocean and sea. And so it really it's a fun little metaphor there, but it's for me, it's remaining calm, because I've had a tendency in the past to fight, flight, freeze, fawn. So doing that inner healing, right? But calm, remaining calm, and that means breathing, compassion, having compassion and perspective for, what the other person's point of view might be. And I think that is really important. Being open-minded, being and so the third one is curiosity and open-mindedness, and to seeing the other person's perspective, to find common ground, and creativity. I think it's Linda Hill, I think is her name, is a really good TED Talk that talks about creativity and innovation, and being able to have the difficult conversations, and that's where innovation occurs, and shifting that the focus away from blame towards solutions. And then one of our principles, collaboration. Instead of we're against each other, we're working as a team to find those solutions. And I think that the two most important is consciousness, being mindful and thoughtful, and remaining grounded and neutral instead of triggered, like we had talked about. And as opposed to being unconscious, being conscious. And the last one is another one of our principles, act courageously, right? Is having the courage to do the inner work in ourselves, and to face whatever wounded child we have inside of us, and love them, nurture them, and hold them up. Because for us to be persuasive, I think we have to come from a really incredibly grounded, in ourselves space.
What a wonderful answer to how do you create influence. I've heard having that calm about you, and it ties into the breath work, compassion for others, and having that open mind, curiosity, which is one of my favorite things. It's gotten me into lots of doors that were always closed. Creativity, which I love the creative piece. It's always in the back of my mind of how do we embrace whatever we got and get creative, because we can get out of this. Collaborating, another favorite of mine. Consciousness, being mindful, presence, right there, just that consciousness. I see the benefit with my clients when they realize just to be present and conscious, the benefit that they are able to create. And then finally, the courage to be able to do all of this. It takes a lot of courage to be able to put the light back on you and figure out how we're gonna grow as individuals before we can grow the team.
Right.
That is a fantastic answer. I'm curious, as a leader, you got to build trust. So you're on a roll. I'd love to hear, how do you successfully build trust? Because there's a lot of people in these leadership positions, especially folks getting into a new position. They're now going from a peer into a manager or into an executive position. How do they build trust? What are your thoughts?
Oh, another great question. You're full of great questions.
I learned from you, Traci.
I think that to build trust, you need to. There was one. I learned it from my dad. Is you are a person of your word, and when you say you're going to show up, you show up. When you say you're going to do something, you do something. Now, obviously, I many times don't get done what I set out to do, because I have a tendency to overpromise on the delivery time, and my own knowledge of my own bandwidth in that moment or space. And it's taking responsibility too. It's taking responsibility and not making excuses for, your part in it, right? When there is a problem, or we need to come together, right? But so much of the time, I think our ego gets in the way and our pride gets in the way. And it's very important that we take responsibility, that we own our part in anything, and that we work to improve ourselves, and that we be like my dad always taught me, is when you say you're going to do something, or you say you're going to show up, you show up, and you do what you say you're going to do, and that you're congruent with your action and your word.
I love the practical applications. It keeps it simple. The world's so busy and so easily complicated with such a long message. And to be able to say, to build trust can be as simple as just doing what you say you're going to do. And it is mind blowing how few people are able to do that. And it is such a key driver for building trust. I think it's a fantastic way of taking something that's complicated and breaking it down to something that we can implement.
And I think it's so important that we be kinder to ourselves. You know, we're not perfect. I think perfection, I'm a recovering perfectionist.
Me
It's
too.
impossible. It's impossible to do. And, we can't be that, and we can't expect others to be that. And people are doing the best they can. 9 times out of 10, people are just doing the best they can. Help them along.
For sure. All right. So this is perfect. I've got another question for you. We're towards the end, but I'm curious, how do you practice self-care? Because when you're feeding and taking care of everyone else around you, it gets really tiring. So how do you practice self-care?
I practice self-care. That has been, I think, the biggest growth most recently for me, is getting out on my paddleboard. That is the one thing that I do for self-care. And I go for hikes or walks. I do meditation, and those are my. And I work out as much as I can. And lately it hasn't been, because work-life harmony has just been a little blown up lately, and I'm trying to get back to that. But those are the things that I'm trying to do for myself, that I do for my self-care. And I also love to listen to music. And so music is very soothing to me as well.
This is fantastic. Thank you. If someone wants to learn more about you, about Athena International, the work that you and your team are doing, what is the best way to get in touch with you and learn more?
They can email me directly at tcosta@athenainternational.org, or they can even just go to our website at www.athenainternational.org and reach out on our constant contact, and they'll get a hold of me.
Fantastic. Yes, I encourage anyone interested, if you've got anyone from 5th grade to up to high school, even in the workforce, and you're looking to get these folks ready, you're looking to grow, you're looking to invest, something as practical as a 10-week course is really a game changer, and the ROI is phenomenal. So I've been in there, I've taken a look at it. It's fantastic, and I hope more people reach out, and look forward to seeing more of your work around.
Thank you. And our higher ed too is we've got it in several universities and colleges across the country too.
That is fantastic. Which ones are they?
We've got Fresno State. Actually, athletics is going through. They're putting their second cohort through. They had their first cohort this fall, and it's they're really seeing the difference. Lansing Community College has been doing it. Olivet College in the past has been doing it. Central Florida, Edinburgh was doing it, but their point person stepped away. So hopefully, now that we've got it nailed down, we're going to be getting it out to more and more colleges and universities as well.
They need it for the workforce. That is for sure. If we've ever hired anybody come out of college, they need this.
Yes.
So you've got leadership covered at every level, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And
the game changer, and where the magic happens, is in the cohorts.
Yes. I've seen it. Yeah. It's fantastic. Traci Costa, you are the president and CEO of Athena International, found on the web at athenainternational.org. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's been great having this conversation with you. I could talk with you all day long, Catherine.
I know, likewise. It is awesome. Thank you, Traci.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the episode. If you like it, please subscribe, share this episode or this show with other people around you. The greatest form of a compliment is a referral. I really appreciate them. And if you think that you want to learn more about some of the work we're doing, I encourage you to reach out to catherinecantey.com. You can schedule a call or just continue to read articles and information that we post out there. Thank you so much for being here.